my sorrows too. No more clouds, no more rain. I need sun to ease my pain. Before this night is over, I will guide you home. All this time you thought we'd never pay the price. In the game of love, you have to roll the dice. My heart got 7 years to life. 7 years to life. All this time you thought we'd never pay the price.
I can put together
Yeah, the tech guy's on it. Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. I'm so happy to be here with you all. The tech guy has no mic because his mic broke and it's coming from France. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
France. It's coming from France. So he still doesn't have it yet. So I have all the power. So I can say whatever I want to say.
You have all the sound. though.
I have all the
power.
sound. I have all the sound. He has all the power. Darn it.
Oh,
but-
actually, I have the sound too.
Yes, the tech guy definitely needs to put together a playlist. I love that. We were working on the live this afternoon and decided we need a new song for 2022. We got to bring in some fresh new energy. And I love that one. What was it called again? 7 Years to Life by Pastis or Pastis? Pastis? Someone will know what that means. How is everyone? Happy 2022. Yeah, Paula definitely. He's definitely going to have a French accent. So true story. I took French all the way through high school and college. I also took sign language. Sign language was much more my forte. Even, at my honors level 4th year French in college, my accent was so horrible. So horrible. I can't do an accent. Definitely not. I mean, I'm not going to try, but it sounded like, the worst American, like bonjour. Even though I could formulate sentences, my skills there are not up to par. The great thing though is, sorry, I just lost my voice for one sec. Our kiddo was in a Spanish immersion program from kindergarten on. So when he speaks Spanish, he sounds so fluent and natural and beautiful. I'm very jealous. Tech guy, beware. That was such an evil laugh. I know, TJ. I do kill people for a living, right? Fictionally speaking. Lillian, can I just say again how much I love your mug? It gets used multiple times a day. I have my water in it. And I thanked so many of you for all the sweet notes and gifts and everything. But then I got a bonus one this week from Sharon. So Sharon, thank you for the game. I cannot wait to play this. But I really had to share Sharon's card that she sent because how cute is this? It says, I don't know if you can see, wishing you a novelist holiday season. How fabulous is this? People are just so creative and clever these days. How do people come up with such great puns? Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have so much to talk about tonight. New things are in the works. It's a new year.
You can sign in French.
Can I do any signing in French? Ooh, where's Diana? Are you on the live tonight? I can sign, but no, not in French. It's different. It's totally different. Sign language is different where whatever country you're in, which is funny. Do you remember the ASL interpreter a few years ago at the Olympics? Was it the Olympics or it was some sort of, now I'm going to blank, some sort of press conference. He was making it up. He was totally faking. So bad. So bad.
I think it was a UN.
It was like the UN or something. Yeah. So no, my My French would definitely not translate over. It's funny what you remember too, because I haven't used it. I should have taken Spanish, first of all. That would have been the wiser choice because I would have used it a lot more, I think. But nonetheless, it was, oh wait, somebody just said Spanish is easier to say than French, right? Diana? Could be. It could be the spelling. I think French is really nasally versus Spanish is much more guttural. I'm not sure. I don't know how I got us on this topic. I'm sorry. I know the tech guy is like, you are so off track. I know. Okay. All right. Oh, Trisha, I love Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. We have seen him in person live a few times. Yes, you're spot on with that. I think we were separated at birth because we love the same things. Absolutely. I know. And do you feel like you have anything to show for it? I know. It's no good. I think it was the romance of it. It seemed like at the time, but function over
It is
fashion.
nice to see all these Americans.
Oh, Kara, you took Swedish in college. That's very impressive. I would have liked to take Swedish and Danish as well. My best friend growing up, her parents were Swedish and Danish. And so, I had like some peripheral stuff that got through because they talked fluently, but she was trilingual. And I was always so envious. I definitely feel like we should just, a foreign language should be part of our early education because that's where it sticks in the brain. I think it's harder when you get to high school because, you already have a lot going on in there. Okay, anyway, we were not here to talk about foreign language studies tonight, but I'm glad that you all concur. We are going to talk about all the new things in the works. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about 2022. I know things right at this moment are not great, but I'm hoping that maybe, we're going to turn a tide. And we all are collectively what? He's cracking up.
It was like Ross's card, like happy 20,
Yeah. Yeah, the tech guy's best friend from growing up sent a card that was like, happy 22 crossed out, happy 21 crossed out. Third time's the charm, happy 22. Maybe this is the year. In any event, we are all collectively going to bring good energy into the world for this year. We know that much. I want to start out by just sharing everything that I have coming up for this year, some of which is still totally in the works, and get your input, get your thoughts, all of the good things. I shared earlier, I think maybe like as early as last summer, about the fact that the tech guy and I are starting our own imprint, which is, drum roll for this one. We're talking about that first. Sorry. I am not on track tonight. I got off with my French. First, yes, Bake Borrow and Steal just came out last week. Thank you to everyone who has shared and posted and everyone who came to celebrate with me. I had such a blast last week at our launch party. If you won something last week, those are all out in the mail. So you should be getting like bonus New Year's packages soon within the next few days. And if you haven't had a chance yet to enter the giveaway, there is 1 day left. Tomorrow through midnight Pacific time is the last day to enter to win this beautiful box. We gave one away already, but I have one left. So if you want to, it's posted here on Facebook. It's on my Instagram. It's everywhere. So go enter and somebody else is going to get this. I'll announce that winner on Thursday because the giveaway runs through tomorrow evening. All 14 books signed thus far. 14 books so far. Bake, Borrow, and Steal. Side note, I don't know if you've already received your copy of Bake, Borrow, and Steal, but it's a little bit bigger. I didn't know this was happening. I got my author copies in the mail and I opened the box and I was like, whoa, it's bigger. Like it's substantially bigger than the rest of the book. Not thicker. Yeah. Taller and wider than the other books in the series. So if you happen to win, which you should, if you happen to win the Tort Box, you'll be like, okay, 13, whoa, 14, there's a change. So anyway, when I got my author copies, I emailed my editor and I was like, is this a mistake? And I got them really early this year too, which I wasn't expecting. And no, it turns out that the publishing house is just going with this bigger size. It's called Max Market instead of Mass Market. And I know. Yes, Trisha, thank you. I know it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And, I don't think of myself as crazy type A. Like I'm not Monk in terms of needing things fastidious. But there is something to be said, like with a long running series like this, if you have 13 books that are all the same size, and then suddenly on your shelf you have one that's bigger. And so I asked the question and I said, well, for the backlist then in reprints, will the size change and match the new size? And guess what the answer is? No, it's just going to stay the same. So I'm like, bigger's better. That's right, Amanda. Yeah. Bigger, better, 2022. I do like the bigger size too, Paula. I think it's nice. It's like one step up. It's not hard to handle as far as a book goes. It's still like a very comfortable size. You could still put it in, a tote or a purse or a backpack or whatever. But yeah, it was a shocker to me. Right, Jennifer? Yeah, if you, there's something about the aesthetics of matching.
Yes.
Leah, everything from Bake, Borrow, and Steal on will be this new size, the max. It doesn't roll off the tongue easy. The max market size. Max market.
Oh, I should have done it. Bigger.
You should have done a bigger. Yeah. Aaron, they definitely did not ask any book collector. I know, I'm sorry. And I actually, that was my whole exchange with my editor. I was like, I feel like there are going to be some readers just in general, not even with my series, but this is going to happen across series. It's funny because publishers will watch what other publishing houses are doing and then they'll do the same thing. So I know there have already been a few houses that have switched to this size. And so now my publisher is doing the same thing. Also, if you buy your books at a grocery store, like my books are sold at Fred Meyer's here on the West Coast.
Which is Kroger.
Yeah, which is Kroger on, I think in the South and the East Coast. And their sizes fit the mass market. So I've noticed that it's hard because they're shoving in the max market. So I've gone and taken like friends' books out that are like shoved in there and like placed them on the front. Yeah, anyway, that's just how it goes. That just means you need to write 26 books. So the first, okay, deal. And then the 13, yeah. So we'll have like a baker's dozen of each. That seems fair. Yeah, I'm down with that. I've got quite a few more bake shops in me, so not to worry. That's a good segue though to our next topic, which is I did talk last summer about the fact that we are starting our own imprint. So in addition to the Bake Shop series that's going to continue with my publishing house, at least through book 18 and hopefully through book 26, the new stuff that is coming out, the tech guy and I are doing ourselves, which is so exciting because I think I've learned so much about the industry and publishing over the years, and I'm excited to have like a little bit more control. Some of you may know that I have a serious Taylor Swift problem, like such a Taylor Swift problem. I love her so much. And the tech guy, they can't hear you.
I can't play music from her. So.
Yeah, the tech guy's not allowed to play music, but they can't hear you. Oh, I know. He's like, he's gonna go on about my Taylor Swift obsessions, and he can't even like get me tonight because they can't hear you. They can't hear you. La la la. Taylor Swift. Anyway, that's what she did this last year. She went back and she's re-recording all of her own music, which is totally inspiring to me. And one of the many reasons that I've wanted to start my own publishing imprint is not only for my own stuff, but my vision is to publish other stories in the nearish future, maybe like 23. We need to do some of our own work, but I'm such a lover of stories and books that I want to share more. And I also want to share what I've learned about the industry and publishing and stretch myself. It's been a totally new experience to go through all the steps of writing some stuff that's different and out of my comfort zone, and also then dipping my toe into publishing too. So I'm so excited. Missy, how did we come up with the name? We have a very prolific lemon tree in our house, which last year produced how many lemons? Like 72 lemons last year. Yeah, we'll have to...
It's only 4 feet tall.
It's only 4 feet tall. It's inside. We bring it in for the winter. I'll share a picture. But we were like, this has been in the works for quite a while, but we were kind of like going on back and forth on names. And finally we were looking at the lemon tree, which smells so great. And we were like, oh, hey, Sweet Lemon Press. Ooh, that has a nice ring to it. And then I always like to have an attachment to any sort of project that I'm working on. So yeah, That's how that came to be. 72 lemons, Trish, really. When we are able to all have like our massive party that's going to happen here in Ashland, I'll have you all over for lemons. Trisha, I'm taller than a tree. Finally. I did get the tech guy a pomegranate tree for his birthday. So that's our next attempt that we're going to try to make it home. Yeah, I know. It's exciting. When the lemons were in Sue Yin, that's what I was gonna say. When the lemons were in full bloom, I can't even tell you how many things I made with lemons. I mean, sweet stuff, like a Greek chicken with lemon. I made lemon breads, you name it. Some gin and tonics for the summer. Yes, my dad, when he visits, we have some frozen, so he will take those out of the freezer and make a gin and tonic. Yeah, it's good stuff. So anyway, that's kind of the next venture. And the very first book that is going to come out under this venture, I shared the cover last week. I will share the cover in just one second, but I want to give you what I talk to my writing students about, which is called the elevator pitch. So this is like 1 or 2 sentences that after you've written a book that's like 80,000 words, I think this is one of the hardest things to do. Then you have to condense it down to 1 or 2 sentences that is going to try to capture the entire concept of the book. So the book is titled Lost Coast Literary, and it features a young editor, Emily Bryant, who inherits her grandmother's estate on the lost coast of California, only to learn that her editing pen has the power not only to change stories, but to also change lives. Okay, there you go. That's my elevator pitch. Tell me what you think of that. And then we'll show you the cover too. You love it. Are you ready for the cover next? Yes, I'm ready. There it is. Lost Coast Literary. So this book is set on the lost coast of California. You love it already. Oh, Steph, you're so sweet. I'm so excited about this. Oh, Beth, thank you so much. So a few things that I want you to know about this one. If you've read my work and you've enjoyed, escaping to Ashland, or if Diana, we're going to talk about the magic. Oh, you're so sweet, Courtney. I love and adore you all, of course. If you have enjoyed escaping to Ashland or to Leavenworth, the same cozy vibe is going to happen. So I've created a semi-fictional town of Cascada, California, which is kind of a mashup of like Arcata and Eureka and Ferndale and everything that's on the Northern California coast. So you have the massive redwood forests, and then you come into this very quaint and charming town that has these elaborate, beautiful mansions. So I've created my own little town based on this very real place. So it's going to have all of those same cozy vibes, but this time, no bodies. There's no murder in this book. So it's a bit of a departure from what I've been writing thus far, which was really good and important for me. I'd written 26 mysteries, I think 26 at this point in time. And I really needed to shake up my headspace and honestly challenge myself. I almost pulled out for you. I'll take a picture. I don't think I've murdered this many trees in the process of writing a book that doesn't have anything to do with murder, because this book has been edited and touched and loved by so many more people than I think all of my mysteries collectively. But I needed that for myself because it's a totally different story for me. So if we're talking categories, this falls under women's fiction with touches of magical realism. And I'm curious if any of you are already readers of magical realism. A lot of times if I'm giving book talks, I have to sort of explain what the cozy is sometimes. So I can talk a little bit if you're unfamiliar about what that magical realism piece is, but it's still going to have all of the cozy touches. It's a story about family and personal growth and connection. There's definitely some food in it. There aren't recipes, but I think we'll have to make something that's featured in it. And let's see what else. Oh, there are a couple little Easter eggs just for you. And there's a special bonus just for our Tuesday night crew, because you've been such a part and a core foundation of the last couple years for me. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I just wanted you to know that that it's there. Let's see. Oh yeah, Suyin, isn't that watercolor amazing? My friend Jennifer Ann, well, you are a watercolor just amazing artist yourself. She sketched out the cover and then drew the watercolor or painted the watercolor based on some imagery that I had sent from the real, the Cascada. No, Cascada is my made up town, from the real city of Eureka and Arcata. Yeah.
So it's a real painting.
It's a real painting. Yeah. And then the tech guy added the rest. So, Milmac, it can be pre-ordered. It's up for pre-order in ebook form everywhere as of now. The print should be up in the next couple days by the end of the week. I know it just got approved for print, so print will be coming, and I'll be sharing it, and I would so appreciate it if you are encouraged or excited to want to pre-order or share it. Like, it would mean the world to me. Okay, let's see. So without further ado, I think I promised that I would read you the first chapter. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see tech. I would magical realism.
Yeah, several people wanted to know. They weren't sure what magical realism was.
Okay. So some of it looks like, yeah, I know it's so hard with the comments. So magical realism, some of you already know. If you know, like, you know, but I bet a lot of you have read things that are magical realism and maybe you don't. Like, that category for genre is relatively new. In fact, it's been interesting being on this end because a lot of the back end systems where you upload the book for pre-order didn't have magical realism even as a category. So I would say, first and foremost, it's a story of personal growth for Emily, our main character. But magical realism, think, did anyone read The Time Traveler's Wife? That came out a few years ago. The Midnight Library, The Alchemist, The Night Circus. So magical realism is like a touch of magic, but the book is still firmly grounded in reality. Unlike maybe fantasy, where it's a totally different world, or sci-fi, you know, where you're off on another planet or traveling through space. Magical realism has that hint, that touch. It's like magic light. It's got a touch, it's got some mystique. The magic needs to be explained, and usually there's a reason for it, but it's grounded in reality is my best explanation. So yeah. Oh, Sharon, isn't The Night Circus amazing? I loved that book too. Erin Mortensen, she's just next level writer. Yeah. Yeah, like Heather Weber, Heidi. That's another good example. Totally. Her stuff has just that nice light touch. She started, Heather. Yes, totally. I think that's a great comparable. And she had her which series first? I love The Midnight Library too. Matt Haig. Come on. I mean, just amazing. So yeah, I hope that helps clear it up. I have to put on my reading glasses for reading the first pages. So then I look like, you know, very proper. All right. So this is chapter 1. You're the first outside of, you know, my crazy stack. I might get a little weepy. You are the first to hear this. So I hope you don't hate it. Okay, here we go. Jane Austen. Eyre Austen. I picked up the matte phone case with a slate gray silhouette of Jane Eyre on the front. Her bustled skirts and narrowed waist filling the soft leather cover, along with what was arguably one of the most recognized quotes from Bronte's classic. There is no happiness like that of being loved by your fellow creatures. You can't go wrong with Bronte, but then again, my Emma phone case was more traditionally bookish, with its vintage watercolor design and romantic pink, blushing rose vines, pastel butterflies, and pretty ribbons in a filigree pattern gave Emma the upper hand. Plus, today I was totally vibing on Emma. It had to be Austen. That's the one. Don't overthink it. I grabbed the case from the incurably tippy IKEA bookshelves my roommates and I had assembled while drinking not 1, but 3 bottles of cheap layer cake red wine. Because 24 pages of instructions translated from Swedish, to build a classic basic bookshelf called for more than 1 bottle of wine. As I removed the case from the top shelf, the entire rickety structure came crashing down. My most beloved possessions, hardcover collections of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Anne of Green Gable, and both Bronte sisters, thudded to the floor. Damn, I don't have time for this. Not today. I can't be late. I shoved the phone case, now with my phone in it, into my big bag, ignoring the multiple missed calls and voicemails from my estranged uncle. At barely 400 square feet, my apartment couldn't accommodate so much as a dish towel out of place, but the butchered shelves would have to wait. Broke the shelves. We'll fix later. Sorry. I shot off a text to my roommates, grabbed a copy of the most recent book I'd been working on, a stack of reader's reports, and 2 prick-your-finger-sharp purple pencils, and stepped over the carnage. You can deal with that later, I reminded myself as I checked my appearance in the hallway mirror one last time. A single strand of my penny-colored hair had escaped my ponytail. I tucked it in place and readjusted my olive glasses. I had found the funky style at the California Book Fair. They were the perfect talisman for today. I locked the door and hurried to the elevator. Fortunately, in the 5 months that I'd been in New York, the one thing that I had gotten used to was the subway system. I raced to catch my train, ending up breathless and starting to sweat as I ducked into the cramped compartment just before the doors closed. I rushed to grab the last empty seat on a hard plastic red bench. A trickle of sweat dripped down the base of my neck. Great. The last thing I needed was a sweat-stained blouse. The sweltering humidity and sulfur aroma of warm eggs made my nerves even more frayed. I glanced around, trying to trace the source of the eggy smell. It didn't take long to discover that the woman seated next to me was making quick work of an egg salad sandwich. People who eat anything involving hard-boiled eggs on the subway should not be trusted. I inched away, sucked in a breath, and rummaged through my bag for a tissue to dab my neck. The woman finished her smelly sandwich. She wadded the plastic wrap into a ball and turned toward me. You look nervous, hun. Yeah? I chomped on my bottom lip. A hint of waxy coconut lingered on my tongue. There went my lip gloss. I have a big meeting at work. Ah, I see. She tossed the plastic wrap in her oversized bag and pulled out a carton of knockoff Oreos. Want one? I shook my head. She ripped open the package and devoured a cookie. You have the greenest eyes I've ever seen, and you look very professional. I'm sure you'll do great. Thanks. I bit my lip harder, raking my lip gloss with my teeth. Why did strangers feel the need to chat? Small talk has never been my forte, as the Honorable Miss Austen would say. With one exception, books. If anyone brought up the topic of books or asked me for my favorite read, I gushed like a 13-year-old girl. It was a serious problem. Ironically, my tendency to blabber over my latest book crush had failed me in the dating department. The mere mention of Margaret Atwood or Amy Tan always sent dates scrambling for an excuse to make a quick exit. Where do you work? She asked in a raspy voice. Given the stink of cigarettes lingering in the crowded compartment, I guessed my seatmate's throaty quality was due to years of smoking. No one in Silicon Valley smoked. Okay, well, that's not true. No one admitted to it. That was one of the things that I appreciated most about the city. Not the smoking, but the fact that no one seemed to care what people thought. And the smell. New York had a fragrance of stale cigarettes and street-side pretzels and gritty hope. Silicon Valley smelled like desperation of startups clinging to the last of their venture capital, smart cars, and aquamarine swimming pools that went unused. Publishing. I pressed my hands on my tailored black slacks, trying to force my leg to stop shaking. I'm pitching a novel that I totally fell in love with at our sales meeting this morning, and I am absolutely going to die if I don't get to acquire this manuscript. Speaking of dying, I thought publishing was dead. Amazon and all that. The woman glanced at an ad for Amazon Prime above the handrails. Hopefully not. Otherwise, I picked the wrong time to change careers. I scooted to my left to make room for a family moving toward the exit doors. I didn't bother to provide the woman seated next to me with a dissertation as to why publishing was thriving. It was hard to imagine that a little over 5 months ago, I'd been living in Silicon Valley, working at a soulless startup as a technical writer. The money was good, but editing pages and pages of mind-numbing, tech-heavy language and processing it into digestible, user-friendly bites did nothing for my bookish tendencies. I'd minored in creative writing in college and had followed Dad's advice to get a steady, well-paying job. Look how well that turned out. No salary had been worth the utter burnout I felt at 29. That's why one day last spring, after 8 hours in a windowless conference room, hearing phrases like, "Let's circle back on that," or "I don't have the bandwidth," uttered at least a dozen times, I did something rash. Something slightly out of character. Something I had dreamt about but had never actually imagined following through on. I cashed in my savings and signed up for the Columbia Publishing Program. It wasn't cheap. The 6-week intensive and my move to New York had basically depleted my bank account, but I didn't care. Honestly, even if I hadn't landed my dream job of being an assistant editor, I would have been fine working in the mailroom. Just the thought of being surrounded by books and people who love them made me smile. I still didn't believe I was here. I, Emily Bryant, was in New York and about to pitch my first book at a major publishing house. Someone pinch me, please. I was nervous about the meeting, but I didn't have a shred of doubt that I'd made the right choice. The only thing that made me worry was the fact that I was almost a decade older than my peers. My classmates at Columbia had gone straight from undergrad through the program and were launching their publishing careers in their early 20s. I hadn't envisioned living in a minuscule apartment with 2 roommates at almost 30 and basically starting over. But if I had stayed in Silicon Valley, I never could have lived with myself. Don't go there, Emily. I reached for my bag and pulled out my worn copy of A Bridge to Terabithia, one of my favorite purple pencils. I felt a calm return to my body as I crossed out a line and made a new note in the margin. Editing centered me. I had re-edited this copy so many times, but it still didn't stop me from trying to find new ways to manipulate the story. "Hey, you can't do that!" The egg salad woman peered over my shoulder, invading my space. She looked as if she was ready to swipe the pencil from my hand. You cannot write in a book." "Yes, I can. It's my book." What I didn't tell her was that I had been rewriting book endings for as long as I could remember. It had been a hobby of sorts, or, depending on interpretation, an obsession. Mom used to say that there was no reason to settle for an ending you didn't like. After she died, creating new endings had become my last point of connection with her. She would have agreed there was no reason for Leslie Burke to die. Instead of drowning in the creek, she could have swum to safety or been rescued. I refused to accept that books, even the most revered literary works, couldn't be altered or improved upon. My phone buzzed. I inched away from the woman who had swapped her crumbly cookies for a pack of Marlboro Lights. She clutched them tight as the train rumbled to the next stop. I glanced at my screen. The text was from the same number I'd been ignoring for a week. Last year, I'd made the mistake of not only following my uncle's Instagram account, but giving him my cell. "Hi, Emily. It's Uncle Danny. Sorry to do this in text. Have left dozens of messages, but haven't heard back. I have some bad news. Grandma has passed. Need you and your dad to come to Cascada ASAP. She left you the ballad." "What?" I gasped out loud. My neck prickled with cold, damp sweat. My grandmother was dead? And she had left me a poem? A stanza? The train lurched as it screeched to a hard stop. Another text bubble appeared on the screen. "There are some stipulations in her will, including you come to Cascada in order to inherit the ballad." That's right. The ballad. I hadn't heard that name for years. Her estate, like every other grand house, had its own unique identity. "Hope they don't see you destroying your books in your meeting," cigarette woman said in a warning tone as she tucked her cigarette between her teeth and hurried off the train. I stared at the gray text bubble on the screen. Gertrude was dead? And even more surprising, she had left something? Anything to me? Why? The computer's going off. I must have said something. The trickle of sweat pooled, a trickle of sweat transformed into a pool as if someone had just pushed me into the deep end. It was all too much. Gertrude, the heat, the humidity, too many bodies packed together, the lingering reek of egg salad. A kid 2 seats away was blaring K-pop on his phone. I wanted off the train. I needed off the train now. My stop was still 5 stations away. Another text dinged. Have tried texting and calling your dad too, but no response. No, this is terrible to tell you in text, but we need a face-to-face. Can you talk to your dad? Yeah, like that would happen. I breathed in short bursts, sucking in air like it was about to run out. I stared at the text, trying to stop my fingers from trembling. Dad hadn't spoken to Danny, Uncle Danny, Gertrude, or anyone else on his side of the family since I was 8 years old. Neither had I. My memories of leaving Cascada were fuzzy at best. The last time I'd been in Cascada was 20 years ago. To this day, even a mention of Humboldt Bay or the beach made the veins in Dad's forehead bulge to the point of nearly bursting. The origin of my family's falling out had always been a mystery that only revealed itself in snippets and untrustworthy memories. My therapist had once tried to reassure me that my spotty memories of my early childhood were normal. A coping mechanism, she had called it. My brain's way of protecting me from the reality of grief. Of course, in the same sentence, she had shared her concerns about my tendency to blur fiction and reality, followed by a kind yet firm reminder that spending less time inside the pages of books and more connecting with people around me might serve me better. I power walked through the crowd. I had 2 blocks to pull myself together and make sure I didn't completely sweat through my new blouse. You can do this, Emily. I breathed deeply and squared my shoulders. The publishing house was located in an old Art Deco building adjacent to the park. Every time I stepped into the lobby, my knees went weak. It was a thing of bookish beauty. An arched open stairwell, cut from Italian marble, led to an atrium on the 2nd story where books stretched as far as my eye could see. A mosaic tile waterfall and cascading shades of blue cut through the floor. I wanted to break out in a dance every time I scanned framed first edition copies and current bestsellers on display in clear glass cases, backlit with halo-like golden lights. The reception desk was flanked by towering vases filled with white lilies and gardenias. I drank it in. I was here. I was following my dream. Sure, maybe it wasn't quite as glamorous as I had imagined. I wasn't doing the serious editing work I had envisioned yet, but I was here, and that had to count for something. I paced the lobby, waiting for the elevator as my mind drifted between rehearsing my pitch and panicking about how the hell I was going to explain that I desperately wanted to work on this book, but I was potentially going to have to fly to California. I blew out a long breath and oogled over a leather-bound first edition of A Christmas Carol behind the glass. Maybe if I had called Danny back earlier, would it have changed anything? Probably not. I'd been pulling all-nighters, writing dozens of rejection letters. Getting in touch with an uncle I hadn't spoken to in years was low on my priority list. I had figured he wanted to try to use me as a way of connecting to Dad, and I had no interest in getting in the middle of that. The elevator dinged, shaking me into the moment. When I stepped out onto the 10th floor, I started toward the large conference room where the senior editors were already beginning to gather. An intern stopped me. "Oh, hey, Emily, Piper needs to see you." "Now?" I adjusted the stack of readers' reports and the manuscript I was about to pitch. "Yeah, she said you can wait in her office. She'll be in a minute." My heart flopped. What did it mean? Had I done something wrong? I stole a glance at the conference room and then headed in the opposite direction to Piper's office. In an attempt to shut out the anxious voice in my head, I tried to focus on the small room. It smelled like new books and something minty. The mint was from the trio of ceramic pots resting on the windowsill, and the book aroma was due to the pale blue spines of trade paperbacks, hardy army green hardcovers, and blood red mysteries, each of which had been arranged by color on a mid-century bookcase behind Piper's desk. Cover art framed the walls. Book bunting and rainbow tones stretched across her tidy workspace, which was also occupied by pencil holders and a Jane Austen coffee mug. Stickers in the shape of a retro typewriter and a heart made from book stacks, and clever words like book nerd and feels were stuck on the back of her laptop. This is what I wanted. This is what I aspired to. I mean, not that my cubicle was the worst. Piper had warned me when she hired me that the job was going to be a lot of grunt work. But that while I was stuck in cube world, crushing the dreams of aspiring writers with kind rejection letters, I would at least get to have a say in what books we published. The meeting this morning was my first chance at that. I was pitching a book I had fallen completely in love with. I Find You Tolerable was good, like stay up all night, binge read good. It was a retelling of Jane Austen's life story. This time with a happy ending, an ending that I knew would resonate with readers. Jane doesn't write about love in the book, she finds her own love. Historical fiction, especially rom-coms, were my sweet spot for a genre. I had such a solid feeling about this one. But in the next moment, doubt seeped in. Was I wrong about that? Did I know what I was doing? Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe that's why Piper had called me in. A few minutes later, Piper arrived. She was in her mid-30s with kind eyes and a literary scarf that I had been coveting on Etsy for weeks. She greeted me with a wide smile. So sorry to keep you waiting, Emily. She glanced at the stack of reader reports I had placed on her desk. You got them all finished. Nice work. No problem. I adjusted my reading glasses. They had a tendency to slip down my nose and give off an irritated librarian vibe. Hey, that's kind of fitting. She leaned back in a swivel chair and rotated from side to side, loosening her scarf. How are you liking it here so far? You haven't had any regrets about giving up that tech salary, have you? I managed a laugh, feeling panic rising in my throat. Was Piper hinting that I'd made a mistake? No, not at all. Okay, good. As long as we got that out of the way. I smoothed the sleeves of the shirt I was wearing and concentrated on Piper's next question. Uh-oh. I got off a page. Where's 10? That's 12. How did I get off? Oh, no, here it is. Sorry. Should I?
I was like, do I need to run down to the printer?
I know. No, it's because I don't usually do them back to back like that. Look, I got your email about I Find You Tolerable. It sounds like you really like the book. I smiled again. My knee had finally stopped bouncing. I didn't like it. I loved it. In fact, before you came in, I was just admiring your Jane Austen coffee mug. I reached into my bag to show her my phone. I had to swap out my phone case because this is perfect for today's pitch. Piper gave me a probing glance. Let's talk about your pitch. I inched forward in my chair and launched into the speech I had stayed up all night practicing. My mom is the reason I love books. The story my dad likes to tell is when I was younger, I would be completely devastated over any book that didn't end the way I imagined it should. So my mom encouraged me to rewrite my own endings. That's what readers are going to get in I Find You Tolerable. It's a love story for the ages, an Austen rewrite. In this book, Jane finally gets to find real love, instead of dying a spinster who only wrote about love. I am convinced this manuscript is going to be a bestseller. Piper pressed her fingers together. Listen, I love your enthusiasm, Emily. I really do. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid it's going to be a pass. A pass? I ran it up the chain, and the powers that be think Austen has overdone. Overdone? Austen? Never. My voice cracked slightly. I mean, this is a super fresh take. It's Jane getting her own love story. I thought I was going to get to pitch this morning. I know, I'm so sorry. Time is tight. We had to make some cuts. She gave me an apologetic smile. It happens. It's the business. They feel like the market is saturated with Austen at the moment. So that's it? I don't even get to pitch? Piper gave me a pained smile. No, sorry. What a terrible day. First Gertrude, now this. Gertrude. I clutched my silver locket, feeling it burn on my skin, as a memory of me clinging to Gertrude's legs threatened to suck me under. No, not now. Focus, Emily. I released the locket and clamped it in my lap. I didn't have to open it to see Mom's face inside. I had memorized every subtle wrinkle on her skin and the way her lips curved into a permanent smile. Don't let this get under your skin. There will be other books. Yeah, I get it. Did I sound breathless? My cheeks began to burn. She sat up straighter and set her feet on the floor to stop her chair from swiveling. Look, I get it. I've been in your position. I know it's disappointing, but there will be other books. I want you in the meeting, and you still get to stay on the other pitches. I nodded. She tapped her smartwatch. We should get moving. Again, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but publishing's a long game. Put in the time, and you'll have your own list in a couple years. Yeah, it's fine, I trailed off. Please stay in control. I said a silent prayer to no one in particular. It's just, I do have one bit of an issue. Piper's smile shifted. What's the issue? My glasses began to fog. A death in the family. I got a text on the way here, actually. Piper sighed. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. It was my grandmother. I didn't really know her, but it sounds like I might need to fly out to California for a week or two. It's complicated. I don't want to go, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have a choice. I couldn't read her expression as she made a note on a sticky pad. No problem. How long do you need? I'm not sure. Maybe a week? It couldn't take that long, could it? Whatever works for you and your family. Don't rush, but if you're up for it, I can send you with some readers' reports for the ride. Plane ride. Sure, my hands instinctively went to the locket again. It was the last gift Mom had given me before she died. Now Gertrude, who I barely knew, was dead too. The rest of the day passed in a blur. I would have liked to take myself out for a strong gin martini with a twist of lemon. Instead, I took myself back to my apartment, where broken shelves and piles of books awaited me. On the way, I texted Danny. When would I need to come and how long would I need to stay? He responded right away. The sooner the better. The estate requires a lot of maintenance, and the will stipulates that you need to be here in person before any other proceedings can occur. I wanted to shoot back a poetic slew of profanity. He hadn't shown up for Mom's service. I was supposed to drop everything and fly across the country for him? For a grandmother who had abandoned me? You're sure we can't do this remotely? Sorry, no. You need to come get the process started. Probably will take a couple weeks. Any chance you can talk to your dad? I didn't bother to reply to that. Okay, there we go. Whew, now I can't see. That is the beginnings of Lost Coast Literary. So what you might get a sense of with this one is it's very bookish. It's really a love letter to books and to stories and to the idea of, how stories shape us. And I cannot wait to share it with you. Oh, thanks for letting me read it. It's always so unnerving. Oh, yay. I'm glad you're excited. There's obviously so much more that's going to come. Oh, Trisha, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this one. I think I mentioned I've never had this happen before. This whole idea came to me. I woke up at the start of the pandemic and had a dream about this book, and Emily was like, just so fully formed in my head. And then it was a lot of work and rewrites to try to find the thread of her story ultimately. And I got a lot of help in that process, but I'm really excited to share this one with you. If you love books and if you're someone like Emily who wishes sometimes that endings could be different, I think you're going to enjoy this one. So yay. Woo. Now I need another water. All right, so that's Lost Coast.
There's a lot of questions.
Oh, there are lots of questions.
Yeah. Well, first of all, this is fun.
Okay, I hear Gertrude and I jump. It's only said when I met your mom's. I bet. Oh, it's your middle name, Lily Ann Gertrude. Yeah, I know. I feel you. Luna, is this book a series? It's not. It is going to be a standalone. It's just a standalone. It's a standalone novel. And I have had a thought for what I might potentially do for a sequel, but I'm not sure. This one might just be on its own. So yes, Taylin, you were worried about it not being a cozy. I know. So it is not a cozy. It's not a traditional cozy in that, we all know how the cozy goes. You find a body, everybody comes together to solve the crime. There are so many suspects. So it is not that. There is definitely going to be a hint of a mystery. There's a lot of unknown about Emily's backstory, when she makes it to Cascada, there's going to be this magical element that also comes to life, so to speak, but there's not a body. So that is true. But I really do. I don't think I can take, I wish I could write, like, I don't know if I wish that. I'm happy being who I am and what I write, but I don't think I can take the cozy out of me. So I think the tone and the vibe of the story is still very cozy at heart. Cascada, I hope, comes alive for you. The bookish world is hopefully going to be cozy and come alive for you, but there's not going to be a body, so that's true. Yes. Let's see. Any other? We will do a whole Lost Coast. I promise. Well, I'll do another live that's just focused on this. In fact, the tech guy and I are talking about going down there to get a lot more footage. Yeah.
So it's available for pre-order as an ebook now.
It's available. The tech guy's giving me my talking points. It's available for pre-order as an ebook now.
Or
everywhere ebooks are sold.
Or will be in all the markets.
Yeah.
Soon,
or it's coming
Lonnie
soon.
Said it wasn't in Canada yet.
Okay, so it's coming in Canada, Lonnie. Don't worry. It will be in all the markets soon, and the print version will be available soon. And then,
we'll send out a newsletter.
Yeah, right. We're gonna send out a newsletter. I'll send the first chapter out in the newsletter too. Let's see what else. Yes, I am going to be able to sign these, and we're going to put together like a Lost Coast box, because with my other series I can't sell them myself, so there's definitely going to be a way to pre-order signed copies for sure. Yes. Okay, cozy magical realism women's fiction. I know, Melmac, right? We're making a new genre. It's a thing. Oh, Karen, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I really, I don't know, like this almost feels like starting my writing over. I feel such a connection to this book. Not that I don't feel a connection to everything that I write, but because this is such a leap out of my comfort zone for me. And this story, normally with my mystery writing, I'm pretty regimented. I've talked about my process, like I have this whole process that I go through. With this book, it was like I woke up with this idea. Emily was so strong in my head. I came into my office and frantically wrote a bunch of notes, but then there's no thread of the story. And the gift of writing a mystery is you have suspects, the plot is forcing you forward, right? And so this was a totally different and new experience for me.
Yes,
yes, Leah, it is Eureka. We love that show. And it's funny because Eureka, California is kind of all part of that. So it needed a touch of magic to it for sure. Okay, let's see. So on top of that, I have another project that I'm working on. Are you ready for the next slide, tech guy? This is going to be a really long live. Sorry, I had no idea. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for this one, yes. Okay, then on May the 4th, pay attention to that date. On May the 4th, book 1 of the Beckman Falls Mysteries, which is Murder Strikes Back, is going to come out. This is a project that the tech guy and Sky guy and I have been collaborating on, and we'll have lots more to share soon, including a cover sketch. This book is going to take place in Jacksonville, Oregon, aka Beckman Falls. There's no waterfall in Jacksonville, but it's going to be loosely based on Jacksonville, and it's going to feature a young 20-something guy, Skylar Walker, and his friend Kalia, who open a retro pop culture shop together and, of course, stumble upon murder. There may be some nods and little Easter eggs to Star Wars and all things pop culture. This one is going to, yes, Paula, this will be through Sweet Lemon Press too. I'm so excited about this one. It's been super fun to collaborate as a family. We've never done that before either. These are all projects that really started in the pandemic. Lost Coast, I wrote the first draft of that in July of 2020. So 2 years later. I'm glad you wait, I love that you went with Beckman Falls. Oh, yes, Michelle. I went back and forth. because there were some other great options, but this has a little like nod to the real Jacksonville. Why are you cracking up, tech guy? Taylin, come on. You're so sweet. Hopefully these will be like lower price points. I don't want to take all your money. I have been writing, Brooke. It's true. But I things got freed up too, because as you know, on the sad front, my publishing house canceled or did not renew the contract for the Sloan series. So that freed up some writing time for me. But also this is another project that we've been working on for a while. So that's going to be your classic cozy. This is fun though too, because it's kind of a dynamic duo. Skylar and Kaylee solve the crime together. There's definitely going to be a hint of romance. There's going to be a sub mystery that runs through the series. So book 1 has to come out on May the 4th, which is very exciting.
This will be a separate live.
Oh yeah, Terry, we'll totally do a live. The tech guy's saying about the process of starting our own press. Yeah, totally. That could be like a whole writer one. Yeah, absolutely. Sweet Lemon Press is, the two of us at the moment, so don't get too excited. But yeah, it's been a fun.
This will be for sale wherever your bake shop.
Yeah, Fonda. You can pre-order wherever books are sold. It'll be available at independent bookstores. It'll be available at all the online retailers. And then we're going to do a special signed copy pre-order too. But I will also sign copies at all my local independent bookstores and everything too. So that'll be so fun.
Good one, Joseph.
But do they learn their siblings? We've just been rewatching Veronica Mars. So, yeah. We'll have to see. Oh, Han and Leia. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Luke and Leia, of course. Okay, so we've got Lost Coast Literary in March. Then we have the first of the Beckman Falls Mysteries, Murder Strikes Back in May.
Oh, wait, you gotta answer
Then,
this question.
oh no, Luna, there's so many more bake shops. I've signed a contract through book 18, so there are so many coming.
And
Don't worry.
that'll be beyond
Yeah,
this.
and it'll definitely keep going. I don't want to say indefinitely, but I plan on writing them as long as you all want to keep reading them.
Okay,
Which
so
is good
what's
timing
this
because, book 15, Donut Disturb, will come out June 28th. Is that right? Book 15, yeah. Book 15 of the Bake Shop. This one features a wedding at Lithia Park, but I'm not going to tell you anything about that. And then after that, what's next? I know, now I can't keep track. Oh, The Cure for What Ails You, book 5 of the Sloane Krause, comes out in paperback at the end of October. So that should be fun. If you haven't had a chance to read it, it's always a nice way to get a a copy. And
Okay. Everybody's asking. Is there gonna be more
I know.
Sloan?
Okay, so yeah, because of Sloane, more Sloane ? All right, so I have to tell you, I was stunned when that series did not get renewed. It was a shock to me. I spent like a week crying. It was rough because I have been so connected to Sloane. I thought that the series had been doing well, maybe not as well as the bake shops do, but I also had thought wow, I've kind of established myself, the whole thing. Yeah, I know. And I think it's a good life lesson too. Just because you feel like I had kind of a body of work out there, it can happen to anyone, right? So I spent some time crying, then I spent some time being mad, and then I got over it and channeled my energy into other things. So that's the sad part of Sloane. But, this last year, I have been really digging some short stories, the novellas. And I think that's in part to all of you because we've written them together and everything. So I've been thinking a lot lately, and I've already started maybe on one, that it would be fun to have Sloane do some novellas in the short term. And then, I think the long term, my thought would be she could make a return through Sweet Lemon Press. But I'm curious, would you love a romantic Valentine Sloane? Would you be interested in like a fall festival Sloan, a holiday Sloan? Do you enjoy a shorter novelette? My friend Hannah Dennison put out a great Christmas book that she called a novelette with her Honey Church Hall series. So good. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. You're so sweet, Lenny.
Everybody.
Oh, Taylin, I'm glad you love the final Sloan. That was a really hard book for me to write because I didn't see that one coming. And as we've talked about, I'm always writing for the publishing house. Well, and even for us, I think with our own press, we'll have a little more flexibility in terms of timelines. But I had written that book not with the ending that had happened, thinking that the series was going to continue. And then I had turned it in, I had delivered it, like it was done. I was already kind of sketching out what was going to happen in book 6. And then I learned that they were canceling it. And so I had to go back and rewrite enough of an ending so that readers weren't just like, whoa, because I hate that as a reader. If I've read a series or you get attached to a TV show and then it just ends abruptly, it's the worst. So I'm glad I am personally, that book, I'm happy with like her growth and everything, but there was so much more I wanted to do. More Sloan and Garrett. That's what I'm thinking. A little romance, a fall festival. Okay. Crazy April, of course. Beach Bum, always.
That's good.
Oh, that's awesome, Christella. I'm glad that you learned a little bit about beer. I know it's such a fun process. Any Sloan. Okay, Kayla. Yeah, I think it would be fun. Holidays. Yeah, Lonnie, I'm thinking holiday. Okay, I'll keep you posted. But yeah, I think it might be fun to fill in with a couple shorter novellas, maybe, and then figure that out. What would April wear? Oh yeah, I mean, every day is a Halloween costume, so she doesn't even have to dress up. You tell the publisher we're all going to go full Karen on them about Sloan Krause. I know, it's okay. Like it was all part of like my growth process too. I don't know if I would have pushed myself out of my comfort zone then to be like, you know what, like I want to start my own press and I'm going to do some of my own stuff.
This is good. You won't get it. I got it. It's great.
Okay. Yeah. Marcy, the tech guy's very impressed. He's telling me it's good, it's great, but I don't get it. Okay, he's going to explain it to me later. Steph, I love it. That's awesome. Lonnie, definitely the cancellation was in part because, I think fully because of hardcover. Hardcover is such a hard sell. The price point is higher. I actually begged. I said, well, let's just put them in paperback. But because of the way publishing works, it's like once they kind of have that one-track mind. But I will say that all of the new stuff that we release as Sweet Lemon Press will all be in paperback, no hardcover. Cameo, I'm with you. I would love to have Sloan be a series. I think it would be so great. Leavenworth is just perfect as an aesthetic for the town. It could be like, think of Northern Exposure meets something cozy. I know. Anyway.
I think April would be a short.
What would Judy? Woo! Do we want to see that? I don't know. That would be maybe not safe for work is what I'm guessing. Anyway, I hope the takeaway, especially because I know like a lot of you are writers as well, is that it's okay. Like sometimes things are outside of our control. And so it's important to write the story that you want to write and just stay in that creative space, because I think when we live in that creative space, it just encourages more of that energy. And I feel so grateful and full and excited and eager to share with you. I have a couple other standalones that are in early stages that I'm excited about, kind of more like a Lost Coast. But, those are going to be longer term. But now that I've started this and kind of cracked myself open to like, oh, okay, I can try something different. I can push myself out of my comfort zone. I can, not cry in bed for a few days and be like, oh, I liked writing those books. What am I going to do? So I hope that's the takeaway for the year. Like, let's all stand in our power and embrace ourselves. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Okay.
That's the wrong one. Sorry.
Yes, Christella, I am in the process of figuring out the whole audio. So the goal will be that they will all be in audio. And I have some ideas on narrators too. So I will keep you abreast of that. I'm hoping that coincides with release day.
Actually,
Yeah.
Everybody already decided that you have to be the narrator.
I've wondered, I mean, I'm not so, I flub words a lot is my problem because I read so fast. Or I think it might also be because I know what I've already said. So I wonder how long it would take me to narrate an audio and not have it be littered with errors. But yeah, maybe. Anyway, thank you all so much because honestly, I don't think, it's not even a think. I don't know that I would feel this confident to sort of like step out on my own and do my own thing if it wouldn't have been for our group. And this group, like I said, has inspired me in so many ways. I think our collective creative energy has just spurred me on, and I'm just so happy. So thank you for all your support. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, I am working on. That's one of the standalones, Cherry, that I'm working on. But I don't know. I don't know if it'll be ready. There's a chance maybe it would be ready by the end of the year, but that might be more like a 2023.
Those are all coming.
Yes, Lillian, we've been working on, we're working on getting, I know, we'll be working on getting all the cozy collabs up too. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. So next week we're going to, speaking of collaboration, we're going to plot our first, I get so scared every time. This time it's murder. We're going to do one of these together. We're going to come up with the whole story next week. Be kind to us. Then the tech guy and I will go film it and then we'll share it out. That should be super fun. On the 18th, we're going to talk about what's on my TBR stack. I've already finished my first book of the year and loved it. And then we'll do reader questions. So that should be fun. Bring anything you want to know.
We already have dozens from tonight.
Oh, the tech guy says we already have a bunch. So he'll save and queue those up so we can cover those too. I'm going to maybe get slightly teary, but honestly, like, thank you so much. Like, it's been, I know I say this all the time, but it's just been so humbling and amazing that not only have we created connections, but that we're like, you all are connected outside of our space too. So thank you so much for all of that. And yeah, on that note, I'll have so much more to share about Lost Coast. And I can't wait. Oh, Jeanette, I'm so glad that you came tonight. You got to hear about all the new stuff. And let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh, I will also have some early giveaways of the book ready to come and all that good stuff in the weeks ahead. So on that note, I hope your 2022 is off to a great start and I will see you next Tuesday. Happy reading.